Thank you, Pratik, for your very important points. Definitely. Pravita, I was just going to call you actually right at this time. Your batch is now celebrating the 60 years of passing out, and I know many of your batchmates are here. Pravita, you please come, you say something.
Is Dr. Praveen Yogi, 1962 civil engineering graduate, and as was mentioned by Shama, our batch is celebrating the 60th anniversary of our graduation. I have two small claims to fame. One is that I'm a classmate of Professor Amitabh Ghosh, a very old friend from our first year in 1958. And second, and this may surprise you, my family has been associated with this institution for 98 years, since a young student named Prabhat Chandra Yogi entered Bengal Engineering College in 1924 and graduated in civil engineering in 1928. He, of course, was my late father. I have lived abroad since graduating and going abroad to study in 1962. So my views can only be that of somebody looking in from outside. I live in Canada, but I have been involved with GAABESU for 55 years, and I strongly, perhaps in a little less polite language, endorse some of the points that were made by both Soumitra and Achyuta, but I'll add three other points, and I'm only doing this because Amitabh Ghosh is not here. First, for those of you who have read the Anandakrishnan report, an attempt was made. It was made to reposition the IIEST as something different from an NIT or even an IIT. And the mechanism was the 5-year dual BTech MTech degree. This is what would separate the IIEST, or IIESTs, because more than one were planned, from the normal 4-year teaching college. And Amitabh always maintains that a decisive misstep was taken when the 5-year dual degree was not enforced and exit was allowed after the 4 years, because a lot of students felt that the market would not award them for having done a 5-year BTech and Tech. Be that as it may, that immediately cut you off from a supply of master's students who would have provided a pool for young researchers. It's wise to remember that. The other point I would make, and make very strongly, is this. There are a large number of alumni who are interested, I will use the term B College if you don't mind, in the success of our institution. Some of them are even willing to help. But there is a very famous phrase in Hindi which says, "Tali ek haath se nahi bajti." In other words, the administration of this institution, unless it looks upon the alumni as a strategic long-term partner and is willing to work with them on a medium-term basis for the uplift of the institution, it is very unlikely that, with the exception of people like Professor Owen Deb or one or two others, you will have alumni who will come forward and try to help on a long-term basis or even contribute large sums of money. And as for the upgradation of the college, I refer you again to this two-part article that Amitav Bhattacharya wrote in the statement on December 17th and 18th. And he suggested this two-phase plan to upgrade IIEST to an IIT. And he said the first medium-term phase of that plan should be to raise the ranking from 40th in the NRIF to within the first 10. I would be more than thankful if we could raise the ranking to the first 20, because what many of you may not realize is, I call this a sheep and goats problem. If we fall out of the bucket where the research institutions will be kept and fall into the bucket of the teaching institutions, then once you have been categorized, it will be a vicious downward spiral. Madam President, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Pavitra. You see, actually, Ajay Rai, are we here?
Thank you, Shama. I didn't come to deliver a lecture here, of all things. But anyway, I was called upon to say a few words, and being a Bengali and a mic there, I couldn't resist the temptation of doing justice to it, my names. Now, I have two observations. One observation which spans more than 2 decades at least, and that is the absence of teachers during the alumni meets. In our time, we used to find all our professors in the business meet and other functions, equally enthusiastic about the happenings here. They were aligned with the students, and they were there. For at least for last 2 decades, I have seen that not happening. Number one point. Number two is that in our time, we had role models in our own departments. Some people or other who were someone we wanted to, be something like that, a role model. I'm leaving aside Professor Shankar Sen and Lord Mukherjee. I mean, they were out of the, and even Professor Deb and Shri Sharkar in our department. Such people, if they are there fully aligned with the students and so sincere about their own work, the institution has to do good. And young researchers, if they find someone worthwhile to work with, they will be interested in coming here and working. I do not think we have many such people, many such professors in the campus today, in the college today, and not today. In fact, there are instances when very important, well-known, capable professors wanted to help the institution and come and work there almost with no remuneration. They were also not given much importance and seriously taken, the cognizance was given. And I then, my submission is that we may blame others, the administration and many other things, but the rot within is more important to be treated than anything else. And second point is a personal point. I think I'm not mistaken in assuming that there are a number of scholarships and donations given by ex-students from time to time. I do not know whether there is any track is there and whether the fund is being utilized, or whether, at least in my case, I had 2 small, fund created in memory of my father and my grandfather. Both of them were alumnus of this college. But see, after that, I have not heard anything as to whether the fund is being utilized, and if so, in which way. It must be happening to all other funds, and the total sum will not be very meager either. That's my guess. So this doesn't need any administrative change. It's the willingness. I'm sure some professor, whether any head of the department is aware of the existence of such funds, I wonder. But I would love to have feedback as to what is happening to the fund that I created, a small fund maybe, but it was given for a specific purpose, and whether this is being utilized. So these are the 2 points I would like to make. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your very, very important points. And you have also raised certain issues which are to be looked into definitely. You see, actually, definitely, there are funds given by our alumni. And alumni come forward to contribute by way of financial resources and or some other area. But it is a requirement that should be actually if that fund is utilized for some purpose, the person has to be intimated. Sometimes what is happening, they are not getting intimation about the utilization of the fund. This is actually there has to have now at this time. Actually, I've seen in the paper that the chairperson of the board of governors, he mentioned about the alumni fund from the alumni. But you see, actually, fund is not the only factor. There has to have alumni are prepared to come forward to participate in the journey to make an institution excellent. But there has to have reciprocation. My friend Samuel Mitru has mentioned about this, but I know a substantial fund was provided by one of our alumni for a chair professor in civil engineering department, Bijoy Asu chair professor. I came to know that, and there was an agreement that the chair professor, the chair would not be kept vacant for more than 3 months. But I came to know that chair was kept vacant for a very, very long time, and I interacted with the donor and the family members. They are deeply frustrated that fund was not being utilized. Even whether it is done or not, whether something is done or not, they are not communicated. I do not know whether that chair has been filled up by this time. This is administrative. I also know that that time was the head of civil engineering department. He did a lot. He carried the things forward, but ultimately the chair was not filled up. This is something happening. But now the donor is no longer there. He left with the information that his fund is lying idle. But simultaneously, he gave another fund to Bethune College. Bethune College regularly keeps his family members informed and keeps regular touch. One of our alumni, 1960 batch, Nipendra Prasanna Acharya, he just started a seed fund of 20 lakhs to start a culture of research among students, undergraduate students and postgraduate students. Actually, he mentioned certain criteria. It was intimated to all the departments, but this is actually nothing is being done, and particularly the fund of 10 lakhs given by Shamul Mitro from GAABESU, it was intimated repeatedly to various departments. But there has to have some process that there is some fund available, how we can utilize this. Now I would request Tadagata Rai, 1966 Civil, our beloved Tadada. Tadada, please.
Dear Shama, dear Anjana, our fellow alumni and dear students, I didn't mean to speak today, but apparently it has become a duty to come and just blabber something, whether it has any substance or not. Actually, for the last 30 years or so, I have been blabbering away and basically talking nonsense for such a long time that I've become quite used to it. And but coming back to my alma mater, I'd try very hard to talk sense. Where should I begin? I remember when I was teaching in Jadavpur, I was attending one of the counseling sessions. That was in 2002. At that time, I didn't have much connection with B College, and I heard someone during counseling saying that B College is no longer residential. It came almost as a shock. I realized that I should have known this earlier, but somehow I had got off touch, and I could not imagine that B College could be anything other than what our familiar place is. The familiar routine, getting up at 7 in the morning, 1 o'clock, teaching, attending classes till 11, then 2 hours of eating and siesta. That siesta was an absolutely de rigueur for me. Then coming back to class, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock was the time for dozing. And for that dozing, a lot of us got thrown out of class, and then until 4. Now this routine has apparently been disturbed because after it has become a non-residential college, I think it begins at 10, right? Classes? 9. Classes begin at 9. That is okay, but things must change. Nothing remains as it was, poribartoni sangsharer niyam, as it is said in the Holy Bhagavad Gita. But even so, these things like this shock me. What I would dearly love to know is the sort of camaraderie that we B College ex-students had. Does it still exist? I remember just one occasion, long time back, I think it was about 2004 or 2005. The college had just lost its residential character, but most of the students and alumni who were there, they were products of the residential system. So I remember I was talking to someone and telling him that once upon a time, long time back in 1975, I got a chance to go on a Rotary fellowship to I think St. Louis in Missouri State, and I couldn't make it because I didn't get leave, basically. I didn't get leave. So I was very sore about it. This topic just came along. I mean, I wasn't on this particular topic or anything of the sort. Suddenly, a guy comes up from nowhere, looked like pretty much like my grandson. And he said, "Sir, I live near St. Louis. Would you like to come?" So I was surprised. I said, "What is your name? Which batch? Are you still a student or what?" He said, "No, I'm not a student. I am an alumnus of 2001 batch or something like that." I have forgotten his name. It will come back in a little while. Nominal amnesia is one of the rewards of old age. So I said, where do you live? He said, I live in Cape Girardeau, a place on the Mississippi River near St. Louis. Would you come to my house? So I said, it won't be any inconvenience. You hardly ever know me. He said, sir, আপনি আমার কলেজের দাদা, আপনি আসবেন আমার অসুবিধা হবে, আপনি কি করে ভাবতে পারলেন? Then I actually visited him. And what a wonderful time I had. 2 days with a person who is so many years younger than me, so many years junior, and yet we had struck up a relationship which existed then. Does it exist now, after the residential system is gone? I would dearly love to know. Second thing which has been exercising the minds of many of us is the drop in our ranking, in the national ranking framework. This is something when we meet each other, the alumni, always we talk about. So, is there anything we can do about it? We alumni can do about it. Yes, we can. We certainly can. Some of us are quite influential. Some of us were influential at one point of time, and some of these people have got together and trying to influence the proper quarters in the hope that something will be done. But the point is, we must remember that while we are basking in the sunlight of our past glory, the other institutions will not sit quietly. They will try to improve themselves, they will try to upgrade themselves and eventually come to a state where they will leave B College or IIST behind. That is exactly what has happened. Some time back, our finance minister said that the value of rupee has not fallen. The value of dollar has risen beyond all expectations. So dollar has appreciated in respect of rupee, in respect of yen, in respect of euro, in respect of all other currencies. So the same thing has caused the rupee to fall in respect of the dollar. So similarly, we have fallen because the others have gone ahead. The question therefore is, why have we been left behind? Why have we not been able to keep up? Yesterday, there was a panel discussion which I was given the privilege of moderating, in which the first person who was discussing was Dr. Amitava Ghosh. We all know Dr. Amitava Ghosh is a great scholar, great engineer, great teacher. We are hugely proud of him. Dr. Amitava Ghosh pointed out certain things. First thing, the lecture that he gave is worth remembering. Those of you who haven't participated in the discussion, I would recommend that you get hold of the discussion. Just a little while back I told Ronenda. Ronenda, in case you don't know, is a husband of Snigdha, whom everyone knows. Who's Snigdha? May I have your permission to call you antimony? So, therefore, I am asking all of you to do it, to listen to that thing, and I am sure that Shama and Anjana will find out some way, either upload it on the YouTube or whatever. It should be available, isn't it? Yeah. So they assure me that it is there on the YouTube. Please listen to it. Dr. Amitava Ghosh is not only Amitava Ghosh, Gautam Rai, CEO of CSC, who is here, his speech was also a memorable one. Shuman Chakraborty, আর কারা কারা ছিল? Amitava Bhattacharya, IAS officer, an alumni of this college. আর কে? And Indranil Manna, right now the director of Besra Rachi. All of their speeches were memorable, but Dr. Amitava Ghosh's speech took the cake. Some of the things that he said were really mind-boggling, difficult to understand. He he was talking, we are basically, I am at least, was a pick and shovel kind of engineer until 1990. Then I got catapulted into academics, and I taught in Jadavpur University construction engineering for 20 years. What did I teach? I specialized in the interaction of engineering and law, a very odd subject, and that was an advantage with me. But the point is that my transition from the pick and shovel variety of engineering to the teaching profession gave me some insights into the teaching of engineering as well as research, all these things. And even then, in spite of all this exposure, I could not imagine some of the things that Dr. Ghosh was saying yesterday. He was talking about miniaturization. He said that so far we have done miniaturization up to 2 dimensions. In the coming years, we will see miniaturization in 3 dimensions. Can you imagine that everything is being made from molecules? And I really can't reproduce what he had said. I very sincerely ask all of you to listen to yesterday's panel discussion, not because I moderated it. The moderator has no particular role, but for the people who spoke at it, including Gautam, who is present here, they all spoke excellently. From these speeches, what I understood is that unless we import these really modern ideas into our syllabus over here, into our understanding, into our the thought of our students, into our teaching processes, unless we do all these things, we will be left behind. We will slide possibly further back from number 40. So let us do it. Another thing which I don't think, whether he said it or someone else said it, I remember, but don't remember, but what is significant, it is something very significant. It is the transition from, or rather the contrast among science, engineering, and technology. The speaker said that science is, engineering is applied science. What he said basically, in substance, is engineering is applied science and technology is applied engineering. That is putting it extremely simple, but it is not that simple. And this contrast, this transition from science to engineering and engineering to technology gives rise to a thought that is it possible to have overlapping areas? And the speaker, I am sorry, very sorry that I don't remember who it was, but the speaker very clearly said that yes, it is possible. And in the Ananda Krishnan Commission, which really floated the idea of IIESTs, they had thought of having engineering science as the substance of this IIEST. The speaker pointed out, it was Dr. Amitava Ghosh. I am thankful to Anjana, because I was all along thinking it was Dr. Amitava Ghosh himself, that he had pointed out that in the phrase, the Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, there is no comma between engineering and science. Engineering science is something which ought to have been taught in this, ought to be taught, ought to have been taught in this institution. Sadly, it has not been done, and unless this is done, this institution will not see the fruition of the ideas that Ananda Krishnan Commission had floated. Dr. Ghosh is the only surviving member of that commission, and therefore the words that he said are really wrought in gold. Now, these are just some random thoughts that I threw at the gathering here, including the faculty, for bettering the status, the syllabus, the teaching methods in this college. I don't want to go on further. I have spoken for very long periods until people have started pulling me at the back of my dhoti and saying, Dada, shesh korun, aro bokta achi. But I know that this is not such a place, and therefore, of my own, I'll conclude my speech with just one expression of one feeling, that it fills my heart with great joy that I have come here back to BE College. IIST, I'm sorry, but IIST be blowed. We have come back to BE College. That is something which fills my heart, and please hold this thing with the usual pomp and glamour that we have seen. I am sure that as long as Shama and Anjana and the others, they are comrades, they are in charge here, they will do it, but even otherwise, it ought to be done. Thank you very much, friends.
Thank you, Tatada. Yes, actually, we have decided that yesterday's evening program was really wonderful, and there was very valuable points. We are thinking of uploading the discussion in the YouTube. It will take little time, but it will be done, and you will all get it. We will inform all the alumni. And yes, one point I must mention, that actually what Soumitra also mentioned, that you see, actually we have changed from BE College to GAABESU to IIST system. Now actually this change, every change, we must prepare, this change in management is important. What Soumitra mentioned, that we must prepare a path, and there should be a time frame to complete their path. That is what is important. Before that, when we were thinking of that our institute will get converted to IIST as the first IIST, that time we mentioned many times that actually there has to have a planning for that, but it was not there. But now, you see, actually, this IIST, suddenly that change was actually, it was a well thought document. Suddenly it was changed. Yes, it is not correct, we will go by this. But I feel that we must go through the objective very closely and decide what to do our next steps. You see, we gave out specific point for discussion today, and is there anyone to say a few points on this, on a particular topic? Shantanu Kalmukar, are you here if you want to say? Shantanu or Nitai, they also like Pratik, and Shantanu is the founder, secretary of GAABESU, knows a lot of work, lot of things about this conversion, and he being a faculty of this institute and also the first Dean External Relations and Alumni Affairs. Shantanu, if you can mention a few points which we should take note of. Shantanu, please.
So, all Dadas, seniors are here, also my brothers and sisters. Yesterday I have listened to already, Tathagata already explained that those had an opportunity to listen yesterday's seminar presentation, repositioning of IST Shibpur, and also what will be trained in 21st century. Starting from the Amitav Ghosh, Amitav Bhattacharya, and also I think Gautam Da is also here, and our batchmate Indoli Manna and also Sumon Chakraborty. So really he also suggested that it will be available in YouTube, then we will understand. I want to add something because still now we have observed that if you have a gatherings of 1,000 and more than that, we have no auditorium. The infrastructure is lagging like that way. Still now our institute hall is that. And today also Soumitra Banerjee also very nicely has depicted the picture, the scenario in terms of the funding and the research and teaching the two avenues, how it can grow simultaneously or different way. That also he has narrated. Only thing I have to add, because I'm the very beginning of that S.K. Joshi committee, after that Ananda Krishnan committee, and Professor Amita Ghosh correctly pointed out how the IIST has been given, engineering science and technology, engineering science, there is no comma, etc. He has explained. And it is also that time they have Ananda Krishnan committee, and after that expenditure finance committee, that is a 5-year project plan has been initiated that time. But we are not getting the opportunity to get that kind of fund, 5-year span. At least we have, everything has been depicted in that documentation, that we need auditorium, we need academic building, we have seminar room. So when 2014, that one domain has been converted from the Congress domain to BJP domain, and after that 2014 to the 2022. So whatever has been mentioned in terms of the teacher-student ratio, in terms of the research funding, in terms of the infrastructure, that time in 900 crores actually picture is there. Escalation, if you take, maybe more than 2,000 crores will be there in terms of hostel, accommodation, academic building, auditorium, so many infrastructure are there, but unfortunately we have never reached that level. Now, total scenario, what has been depicted summarily, Soumitra has also told, that if you really grow, at the same time, Pratik Datta also told that if you have really to research to grow, you need the development of the laboratory, and also how to maintain the laboratory, how to purchase the scenario. Everything has been blocked in this scenario. But we always expect, like Samada also told, that it is not the end. Some way the leadership will come, will motivate the two direction. Who are a very good teacher, they can go along with. Who are the research field, they can go accordingly. And obviously we reach that what are the glorious past we have, because everybody is coming here because of the BE college primarily. BE college, and after that what are they expected, that it has been grown to that level for which the transformation has been made. But unfortunately we are not reached yet. But we need, challenges are ahead, and we have to meet the challenges, and we hope in the meantime the good leadership will come and we can reach that goal. Okay, thank you very much.
We cannot continue for long, since actually it is already 25 minutes past 1. If anyone else, Gautam, would you like to say anything now? Achha, okay. And from 64 batch, Shamudda, your batch, there is a large representation of your batch. If anyone from your batch would like to say any point.
Shumanta Chaudhary, 1977, electrical. So I just wanted to ask one simple question. As far as I recollect, this Ananda Krishna committee was formed in 1972. I think the year we entered the college campus. The why it took, I think Gautam Rai and a few others can highlight, why it took up to 2014 to make it to IAST. Why there was a hurriedness to change some clauses in the committee's recommendation and convert it to IAST. From 1972 up to 2014, you have to wait to make it a IAST. In between, of course, we became a university. Thanks to Dr. B. Shen, his name was not mentioned today. He had a great impact on that, on the students also. other than Dr. Shankar Sen. So that was there. But ultimately, to Ananda Krishnan committee, their recommendation to be accepted partially, not totally. I'm not very sure if someone can throw the light why it took up to 2014. I still remember at one point of time, after the greats, including Dr. B. Shen was no more, so there were certain names recommended for directorship, I think who could have contributed a lot, but did not happen. So this is a question I would like to put forward. No, প্রথম যে কমিটি ফর্ম হয়েছিল 1972 তে ওটা রিফর্ম জোশী কমিটি রিফর্ম হয়েছিল এটা একটা হয়েছিল 1970 হয়েছিল এনিওয়ে ইফ আই এম রং আই ডোন্ট থিংক আই এম রং বিকজ আই স্টিল রিমেম্বার ইট ভেরি ওয়েল
Good afternoon. See, I had graduated in 1963. I am pretty old. Yeah, I have got denture teeth, so my pronunciations are not always understandable. It's not clear. So, I sincerely convey my thanks to all the members of the organizing committee of this college and all those who are present before me. I am probably one of the oldest, most senior-most alumni are present here. So those who are younger to me and who have not retired, I welcome. I wish they may very happy and successful in the rest of the working part of their life. And for those who have retired, a happy retired life. Thank you.
Thank you, Subhasda. Actually, there are many seniors here from 1956, 57, 1960, 61, 62, all these batches.
Okay, thank you very much for all those who have collected, assembled here and gave your thoughts, whether positive or negative, whatever it is. And it's very significant that we should collect all these information, perhaps through a printed format, and distribute to all those who matters. One thing which has not been covered, I'll just mention that in all cases which I do after my graduation from this place, is we have a lot of conferences, seminars and interactive workshops arranged outside the education institutes, where we encourage the existing students as well as the industry to come collectively and work together to come to a situation where we know where we stand, what are the lacunas of the education curricula, and ultimately what we expect in the industry which is not covered in the educational system. So I request some of you, even the youngsters, to say yes, that we want seminars, workshops, conferences inside the auditorium, inside the college campus also, so that we can go forward. So again, on the Christmas day, thank you very much for spending your time out here. The lunch is already announced, so those who have lunch now can straight away go there, and the cultural program will happen exactly at 2:30. So it is the concluding remarks for the morning session. So it's the only 2 lines we end the program today, which is the Christmas Day. আজি শুভ দিনে পিতার ভবনে অমৃত সদনে চলো যাই, চলো 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 ভাই, চলো 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 ভাই, আজি শুভ দিনে পিতার ভবনে অমৃত সদনে চলো যাই। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thanks, Shubhashish. Thanks, Shamada. We could not give our welcome kit to whoever has spot registered because from the registration we got some number estimate and those things were made only for those who have registered online, pre-registered basically. So we have a few left. I'm not very sure whether we'll be able to give it to all of them who have spot registered and not got the welcome kit. So we have around 25 left. So I would request whoever has spot registered and not got the welcome kit, please go to the counter and collect your welcome kit. I'm not very sure whether it is more than 25, whether we'll be able to give. We will try to manage. Please proceed to the counter and collect your welcome kit. Thank you.
Here. I would request the participants to come near the stage. We will be starting our program in just 10 minutes from now. So the first person taking up the stage would be Shubhashish Mojumdar, followed by Aditi Roy, Shajon Mukherjee, Partho Bose, and Indranil Sen, and finally Ranjan Prasad Dash. Oh, and last but not the least, we have Euphony with us, the music band of IIEST. So let's wait for some more time, just 10 minutes more, while we wrap up with our lunch and we can start with the program. Shubhashish Majumdar, request you to come near the stage. Christmas and a very good afternoon to all of you. More aptly, my dadas, didis, and friends. After an invigorating business meet and a sumptuous lunch, let's sit back and relax as you embark upon a musical journey down the memory lane. When I see all of you meeting here, a poem comes to my mind, written by Srijato, Cafe Corner. I'm sure you will all think it is meant to be for you for this day. শুনছি তুমি এই শহরে 2-4 দিনের অফিস ট্যুর, তোমার কাজের জায়গা থেকে আমার পাড়া অনেক দূর, মাঝেই কোথাও বসা যায় না, দেখা হয়নি বছর 5, ছোট্ট টেবিল, অল্প কথা, হালকা দুটো কফির আঁচ, বৃষ্টিতে সব সারসি ভেজা, কফির কাপে এক চুমুক, নকশা তোরে খয়েরি ধোঁয়া, নীলচে আগুন জ্বালায় বুক। সেই যেখানে কলেজ কেটে বিকেলগুলো পাল্টাতাম, মনে পড়ছে এখন কিন্তু একটা কফির অনেক দাম। সে নয় হলো, এক জীবনে দাম মেটাতে কি পারে? 4টে নাগাদ থাকবো আমি, আসবে ক্যাফে কর্নারে? ক্যাফে কর্নার না হোক, আমাদের পথ চলার, জীবনের পথ চলার প্রাঙ্গণে আমরা সকলে এসে গেছি, আর সেখান থেকে শুরু করি আমাদের আজকের অনুষ্ঠান। The first performer for today, let's give a round of applause for Shubhashish Majumdar. I don't see the applause here. Where are the claps? Thank you so much. Shubhashish Da is a mechanical engineer from the batch of 1980, and he will be singing lovely 2 numbers. Just wait and enjoy.
হ্যালো, এবারে বাংলার হিন্দিতে চলে যাই। অনেকক্ষণ ইংরেজি বলেছাই, অনেকেই আমরাও বলেছি, কিন্তু আমাদের গ্রাসরুট যেটা এই কলেজের, আমাদের যখন থেকে আমরা এখানে কলেজে ভর্তি হয়েছি 1975 ইন মাই কেস, তখন মানে ইট ওয়াজ আ গোল্ডেন পিরিয়ড অফ বলিউড মুভিজ, এবং আর.ডি. বর্মন, কিশোর কুমার, আশা ভোসলে, লতা মঙ্গেশকর, এমনকি সাইড লাইনে থাকা মোহাম্মদ রফি এবং মুকেশ, সবাই মিলে আমরা লড়ে যেতাম, এবং এই ধরনের গানগুলো পরপর একটি পর একটি আসতো। মানে তখন আমরা স্কুল থেকে জাস্ট বেরিয়ে কলেজে ঢুকেছি 1975, এবং 5টি বছর যখন ছিলাম এখানে, প্রত্যেকটা বছরের রিউনিয়ন এখানে এই মাঠে, উই ইউজ টু ব্রিং লট অফ আর্টিস্টস, যারা হিন্দি গান, বাংলা গান, সব ধরনের গানই করতেন, এবং সেই গানগুলোর মধ্যে অনেককেই আমরা পেয়েছি যারা সবাই আজকাল চলে গেছেন, কেউ নেই অলমোস্ট। এবং এই যে আমরা যে গানগুলো গাইব ধনঞ্জয় ভট্টাচার্যর এবং কিশোর কুমারের, তো আপনারা তো কোথায় চলে গেছেন আপনারা ভালো করেই জানেন, মানে শতবার্ষিকী হলো ধনঞ্জয় ভট্টাচার্যের, কিশোর কুমারের একটু তাড়াতাড়ি চলে গেছেন, ওর একটু টাইম লাগবে। কিন্তু সিগনিফিকেন্স অফ দিস টু সংস আর the first song is a centenary of Dhananjay Bhattacharya this year, so we are singing this song which was on 10 September he was born. এবং এই গানটা সুর দিয়েছেন, কথাও লিখেছেন সুধীন দাশগুপ্ত, whose son incidentally is an architect from this institute. He passed out I think in 1982, 83 or something of that sort. 84, okay. So we, in fact, we requested him to come, but he's pressed with lot of recording engagements, so he couldn't make it. But he is known to all our architecture friends, as well as people who stayed in Dubai and other places. So তার সঙ্গে কথাও বললাম আমি কালকে, শ্যামাদাকে দিয়ে একটা মেলও হোয়াটসঅ্যাপও পাঠিয়েছিলাম, তাকে থাকলে মানে উনি হি ইজ নর্মালি প্লেইং এক্সেলেন্ট গিটার, তো গিটারটাও আমরা সঙ্গে পেতাম। কিন্তু আজকে যারা আছেন অসংখ্য মানে খুব গুণী মিউজিশিয়ান ওরা, এবং গান যখন আমি গাইবো তখন ওদের বাজনা শুনলেই বুঝতে পারবেন। তো দ্যাটস গোইং টু বি দ্য ফার্স্ট সং। সেকেন্ড সংটা গাইবার আগে তার ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ড বলবো। তো লেটস গো মুভিং। যারা যারা খাচ্ছেন রসগোল্লা বা আইসক্রিম তারা ওই দিকে চলে আসুন প্লিজ। চলো ভুলে গেছি।
One, two, three, four.
আশায় শয়নে সকলে নয় জাগরণে জানি কোথায় দেখেছি তোমায়, ও গো সুচরিতা চির পরিচিতা, শয়নে সকলে নয় জাগরণে জানি কোথায় দেখেছি তোমায়।
This was a মানে ইনসিডেন্টলি মাই ফাদার বিং এ রেকর্ডিস্ট ইন HMV, এই গানটা ওনারই রেকর্ড করা ছিল। এবং ধনঞ্জয়বাবু অনেকবারই আমাদের বাড়িতে এসেছেন, কিন্তু এই গানটা কোনোদিন আমরা শুনিনি। তখন উনি শ্যামা সঙ্গীতেই বেশি ঢুকে গেছিলেন। তো সুতরাং তখন বুঝতেই পারো যে সন্ধে মানে আমাদের সেই যৌবনকালে শ্যামা সঙ্গীত অত পছন্দ হতো না। আমরা একটু হিন্দি গান টান যখন শুনতাম, তখন ধনঞ্জয় ভট্টাচার্য আসলে বাড়িতে মাকে কে এসেছে একটা বুড়ো ইত্যাদি ইত্যাদি। কিন্তু এখন বুঝতে পারি যে কতটা বড় অবদান না থাকলে এই ধরনের গান ঝানানা ঝানানা বাজে ওগো সুচরিতা এমনকি ত্রিনয়নী দুর্গা, কোন ডাইমেনশনটা একটা মানুষের মধ্যে পাওয়া যায়, সেটা একটা বিশাল জিনিস। সেটা আজকে এখন কাদের মধ্যে পাবো আমি জানি না, বাট হ্যাটস অফ টু ধনঞ্জয় বাবু। কোনটা? আরে সেটা তো পরে শুনবো, এখন ধনঞ্জয় আছি। ওকে, বাবা তুলে কথা বলছে। আচ্ছা, এবারে আমরা চলে যাই কিশোর কুমার ভবনে। ঠিক আছে, একটু বলে দিই। আচ্ছা, এইবারে আমাদের একটা রেয়ার মুভি, যেটা কাপুর ফ্যামিলি নিজেরা সবাই মিলে একসঙ্গে বানিয়েছিল, কাল আজ और कल। সেই সিনেমাতে রণধীর কাপুর তো ছিলেন, আরও সব কাপুর ফ্যামিলিরা ছিল, সবাই ছিল। কিন্তু এই যে গানটা কিশোর কুমার গিয়েছিলেন, এই গানটা যিনি লিখেছিলেন তার এবারে সেন্টিনারি হলো, কিন্তু অর্ধেক লোকই জানে না তার নাম, এবং অর্ধেক লোকই জানে না তার সেন্টিনারি হয়ে গেছে। ভেরি আনফর্চুনেট। আমি চেষ্টা করেছিলাম বিভিন্ন ক্লাবে বলতে যে এই মানে ওনার একটা সেন্টিনারি প্রোগ্রাম করা হোক। এমন সুন্দর সুন্দর ওনার গান লেখা, এবং প্রত্যেকটা গান যেটা মোহাম্মদ রফির কণ্ঠে আপনারা শুনেছেন। কিশোর কুমার তো পরের দিকে স্টেজে, কিন্তু সেই বাহারও ফুল বরসাও লেভেল থেকে শুরু করে যখন গানগুলো এত পপুলার হচ্ছিল হিন্দি সিনেমায়, এবং মোহাম্মদ রফি ওয়াজ আউটস্ট্যান্ডিং অ্যাট দ্যাট পয়েন্ট অফ টাইম। সেই লিরিসিস্টের নাম হচ্ছে হসরত জয়পুরি। তো হসরত জয়পুরীর নাম আই ডোন্ট নো এখানে কজন জানেন না ইত্যাদি ইত্যাদি। কিন্তু এই যে গানটা, ঠিক আছে, কিন্তু এই মানে ভেরি রেয়ার ইউল ফাইন্ড হসরত জয়পুরি আবার কে, কোথাকার হিন্দু না মুসলিম, এটা অনেক রকম ব্যাপার চলে আর কি, বুঝতেই তো পারেন। হোয়াট এভার ইট ইজ, কিন্তু ওনার যে লিরিক্স, সেই লিরিক্সগুলো মানে কিশোর কুমারের কণ্ঠে এসেছে। এই গানটা আমি সিলেক্ট করেছি, আজকে এখানে প্রেজেন্ট করব। অন্যান্য অনেক গানের পরে ভাবলাম এই গানটাই করি, যদি সময় পাওয়া যায় অন্যান্য গান করা যাবে, কিন্তু এই গানটা দিয়ে আজকে আমাদের প্যারটা হয়ে যাক বিটুইন মি অ্যান্ড দ্য অডিয়েন্স। রাইট, চলো।
1 2 3 2 2 3।
বল ডান্স করতে পারো, বল ডান্স।
हमरे की गुंजन है मेरा दिल, कब से संभाले रखा है दिल, तेरे लिए तेरे लिए तेरे लिए तेरे लिए। हमरे की गुंजन है मेरा दिल, कब से संभाले रखा है दिल, तेरे लिए तेरे लिए तेरे लिए तेरे लिए। मुझे कब से थी प्यार की जुस्तजू, मेरी जिंदगानी में है तू ही तू। मुझे कब से थी प्यार की जुस्तजू, मेरी जिंदगानी में है तू ही तू। मैं आया हूँ दुनिया में तेरे लिए, तेरे दिल में झूमे तेरी आरज़ू। भंवरे की गुंजन है मेरा दिल, कब से संभाले रखा है दिल, तेरे लिए तेरे लिए तेरे लिए तेरे लिए। से भी ऊंचा मेरा प्यार है, तुझी पर मिटूंगा ये इकरार है। गगन से भी ऊंचा मेरा प्यार है, तुझी पर मिटूंगा ये इकरार है। तू इतना समझ ले मेरे हम सफर, तेरे प्यार से मेरा संसार है। भंवरे की गुंजन है मेरा दिल, कब से संभाले रखा है